Imagine this, a buzzing drone, no bigger than a backpack, costing less than a smartphone, flying just a few meters above the ground to avoid detection. It speeds toward a Russian tank worth millions of dollars. Within seconds, it dives straight into the open hatch. The explosion is small, almost unimpressive compared to the roar of artillery, but the result is catastrophic. The tank bursts into flames, its crew forced to flee. In that instant, a weapon worth $500 has erased years of industrial effort. How can something so simple, so improvised, succeed where Russia's missiles and drones, backed by one of the largest militaries in the world, have failed? Welcome to Novastra Defense. Here, we don't cheer for one side or the other. We uncover the facts, the tactics, and the lessons that reveal how modern wars are changing before our eyes. If you've ever believed that only billion-dollar fighter jets or hypersonic missiles decide the fate of nations, today's story might shock you. Because in Ukraine, it is not the high-tech systems that dominate. It is the humble, low-cost drone. For decades, Russia has stood as a symbol of overwhelming military power. With nuclear weapons, fleets of tanks, ballistic missiles, and advanced defense systems, it was supposed to be untouchable. The S-400 could shoot down anything in the sky. The Kaliber cruise missile and Kinzhal hypersonic weapon were meant to terrify enemies. When the full-scale invasion began in 2022, many assumed this arsenal would crush Ukraine within weeks. But Ukraine had a secret weapon, not hidden in underground bunkers or secret labs, but in garages, small workshops, and the hands of engineers and volunteers. At the start, soldiers bought commercial DJI drones online. They strapped grenades beneath them, guided them with a camera, and dropped explosives onto enemy trenches. It looked improvised, even desperate. Yet as the months went on, these small machines became something far greater, the foundation of a new kind of warfare. Here lies the paradox. Russia had the advantage in numbers, missiles, and heavy equipment. Yet it was Ukraine's garage-built FPV kamikaze drones, costing as little as $400, that began to tilt the battlefield. Videos showed Russian tanks struck with pinpoint accuracy, ammunition trucks exploding after a single drone hit, and even naval vessels damaged in daring attacks. Suddenly, military analysts realized cheap drones had accomplished what Russia's billion-dollar arsenal could not: constant disruption of the enemy. How did this happen? The answer is creativity, speed, and the ruthless logic of economics. Instead of launching a single missile worth millions, Ukraine could unleash swarms of drones. Dozens, sometimes hundreds, flying low and fast. One might be shot down, another might miss, but several would reach the target. Even the most advanced radars can only track so much at once. Each drone carries only a few kilograms of explosives, but against the weak points of a tank, an artillery piece, or an oil depot, that's enough. A $500 drone knocking out a $5 million armored vehicle is not just a strike. It's a revolution in cost-effectiveness. Analysts estimate Ukraine used over 50,000 FPV drones in 2023 alone, with production increasing month after month. Factories, many funded by private donations, churn out drones by the tens of thousands. By mid-2024, Ukraine's goal was 1 million drones per year. That scale alone shows how central this weapon has become. And then comes the human element. Soldiers on the front lines describe the sound, the high-pitched buzzing like angry bees. Unlike artillery or missiles, there's no warning until the final seconds. A grenade drops into a trench. A drone dives into a bunker door. Russian soldiers have been filmed abandoning fortified positions, panicked not by heavy bombardment, but by the approach of these tiny, relentless machines. Fear itself has become a weapon. Ukraine's strength lies in adaptability. Engineers design new variants in weeks. Racing FPV frames are converted into kamikaze platforms. Commercial drones are hacked to bypass jamming. Some are fitted with thermal cameras to strike at night. Others are turned into long-range fixed-wing craft, able to fly hundreds of kilometers and hit oil refineries inside Russia. In one dramatic strike, Ukrainian drones attacked the Novatek gas terminal in Ust-Luga, sparking massive fires. In another, they forced Russia's Black Sea Fleet to retreat from Crimea after multiple drone boat and aerial drone attacks in Sevastopol. Compare this to Russia's drone strategy. Moscow relies heavily on the Iranian-made Shahed 136. These drones are cheap, long-range, and capable of carrying a decent payload, but they are slow and noisy, often described as flying mopeds. Ukraine shoots down the majority with air defenses. While they terrorize civilians and damage power plants, they do not decisively alter frontline battles. Ukraine's drones, however, are flexible, unpredictable, and deadly at the tactical level. They shape daily combat, erode morale, and drain Russian resources. The numbers tell the story. Russian analysts admit that Ukraine destroys hundreds of vehicles every month using FPV drones. Each destroyed tank or artillery piece represents millions of dollars lost, replaced by a drone that cost a fraction of that. For the price of one Russian cruise missile, Ukraine can deploy hundreds of drones. The math is devastating. The impact is global. NATO officers now warn that traditional armored warfare is becoming obsolete. Tanks, once symbols of unstoppable power, are increasingly vulnerable. The U.S. is investing billions into counter-drone systems, lasers, microwave weapons, advanced jammers. China, too, has taken notice, accelerating its already massive drone industry and watching Ukraine's battlefield as a real-world laboratory. Even countries in the Middle East and Asia are adapting, seeing how small, affordable drones can shift the balance against much larger militaries. This is more than a war between Russia and Ukraine. It is a turning point for modern conflict. For over a century, the biggest machines defined power: dreadnought battleships, fleets of bombers, nuclear arsenals, stealth fighters. Today, that dominance is being challenged by devices you could carry in a backpack. The democratization of warfare is real. Technology has lowered the barrier of entry so far that a team of young engineers with 3D printers can build weapons capable of destroying multi-million-dollar systems. And that's the irony. Russia, once feared for its sheer scale, now finds itself bleeding against swarms of buzzing machines worth less than a single tire of its tanks. Ukraine, the underdog, has weaponized creativity. Its drones don't just destroy targets, they destroy old assumptions about what decides victory in war. So here is the deeper truth. Ukraine's cheap drones didn't only wreck Russian vehicles. They wrecked an outdated mindset. They showed that agility can beat size and innovation can outmaneuver bureaucracy. Tomorrow's military planners must ask, do we really need more tanks and jets, or do we need more drones? This shift is not temporary. It is the beginning of a global transformation. Tomorrow's wars will be fought not just with billion-dollar aircraft, but with swarms of cheap, expendable machines. Wars will not be decided only by who has more firepower, but by who can innovate faster. And perhaps that is the most unsettling lesson of all. So what do you think? Are Ukraine's cheap drones just a phase in this war? Or are we witnessing the dawn of a permanent revolution in military strategy? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every one of them. If you found this analysis eye-opening, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Novastra Defense. This is the place where we break down the weapons, tactics, and strategies reshaping the world before our eyes. And in our next video, we'll explore another weapon transforming the battlefield, one that might surprise you even more. This is Novastra Defense. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.